kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Out of 4 key races this season, this is the second jewel in the crown for the Super Late Model AI Series. It is round number 11 of the season. It is Charlotte Motor Speedway here tonight again for the Super Late Model AI Series. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening here tonight. Alongside me, my broadcast partner, Toni Trapasso. Tony, we saw a crazy race last week and a great finish at Concord. Here tonight, this is going to be by far and away the biggest racetrack these guys are going to go to this season. It's basically going to be like Daytona or Talladega for these guys.
It absolutely is, Frank. And, you know, the biggest factor tonight is who's going to be able to play the draft to perfection. That's what it's going to come down to. You can't just put your foot down and hang on. You've got to know, you know, when it's time to go hard, when it's not time to go hard. And the biggest thing that might catch some of these guys out is you can't bump draft in this car. You are going to raise the rear axle of the person you're trying to bump off the ground if you hit them with the front of your car.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see that all night tonight, how close these guys are running, side-by-side racing. It is not going to be just hold it flat out here. You do have to lift off a little bit, especially as we get into these longer runs here tonight. Those rear tires are going to give up grip.
They absolutely are. You know, Hoosier brought a really good compound this week. It's not the gumballs that we normally see on the short tracks. It's a harder compound but I'm still expecting this pit window to be less than 45 laps.
Absolutely. We have 150 laps to do, so this could be a 2, maybe a 3-stop race by the time as this race goes on. Take a look at the current point standings right now. With her second place finish last week, Toni Breidinger now has the points lead, biggest points lead of the season. I know we've said that a lot, but it keeps happening. 25 points now over her teammate Corey Heim. Venturini Motorsports sitting 1 and 2. And Tony, you had mentioned it at Concord last week. Both Jake Drew and Tanner Reef, those Sunrise Ford cars, they're still in the top 10, but man, have they fallen off.
They absolutely haven't. That's very uncharacteristic of that team. Normally, when you see the Sunrise Ford hauler roll into a facility, you're pretty much quaking in your boots because you know you're pretty much running for second. And for that matter, the same goes for the McAnally team. Those guys are in the toilet this year.
Absolutely is. We'll take a look at this racetrack here now. Again, these guys, it's going to be quite fun and quite entertaining watching these guys go around here as we've only got a minute left here in this practice session. You can see it's no different from what we've seen at other say from the ARCA car. They don't build up the nose here the way they used to in the old Cup cars. It's still the same old, basically a door stopper nose on these cars. So as Tony mentioned, bump drafting here is going to be nigh on impossible.
Oh, it's not that they build up the nose. It's they normally add a piece to the rear of the car for super speedways, which is something they probably should have considered doing here for Charlotte, because it's going to be so easy to get that front bumper under somebody's rear roll pan, lift them off the ground, and just turn them around. And unfortunately, I think we're going to see that at least a couple of times tonight, Frank.
Absolutely. And something we are also seeing here, if you notice, you see how fidgety and twitchy the front ends of these cars are. That's going to be something else these guys are going to have to worry about, is with these cars possibly walking up the hill during the race, getting into the car on the outside of them.
Well, the thing is, these cars don't normally run what we see in the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, or the Truck Series, where they run like a 3.5 inch anti-roll bar in the front. These guys don't have the capability to do that, so they're still, you know, they're running the biggest bar that they've got, but they're not able to run as soft a spring as their bigger brethren are. And that's what's really leading to the twitchiness here, because the harder the spring, the harder that shock's going to rebound. And that's really what we're seeing, especially in mid-corner. That shock's wanting to unload, but the tires turning are not letting it unload. And that's really where you get into the sketchy situations.
And that's also part of the reason why we're seeing so many guys that are going to be losing the back end here tonight, as everybody immediately takes to the racetrack. So while we may have a little bit more time here in this qualifying session, it certainly is going to go by very, very quickly as we see Dominic Lopez work his way on track. He's had a couple of very good qualifying attempts over these last couple of weeks. It'd be interesting to see whether or not he can keep his good run of form up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Lopez has shown the speed, especially at the start of the second half of the season. They really found their stride. It's just he hasn't had the finishes really indicative of the speed that team has started to show. But here at Charlotte, this is going to be a wild card race, Frank, because nobody really knows what's about to happen.
Absolutely. We wanted to make a race with this season seem a little bit more special, a little bit more different than anything else, and I feel as though Charlotte, with these cars, certainly brings that up. As Wayne Stokes puts down the first qualifying time, however, it's going to be, well, we were watching Dominic Lopez. He's the fastest one on track right now, 29.75 for the number 24 at the moment. And
that's hauling the mail, Frank. Let's see what type of speed he's going to get going into turn 3.
Let's throw that dashboard up. You can see it possibly, maybe. I guess not, as just in case having a problem. In the rear, in the corner.
He's still hauling the mail, though, as Josh Berry goes purple in the second sector and to the front of the pile.
It's Ty Majeski, I think, was what you meant there. Majeski was going 181 there for a moment. Down the back straightaway.
Well, we're watching the 8 of Berry right now.
Yep, here is Berry. Berry goes up to second. Well, now third is last week's winner, Eddie MacDonald, squares him away.
It seems like ever since they had that problem at Wilkesboro, that team is really, they basically overhauled everything to make sure that they're bringing the best product that they can to the track every week. And it's really starting to show. I mean, dominated last week at Concord and pretty decent run so far here at Charlotte.
Yeah, absolutely. He has been definitely been improving after that first Crown Jewel race went awry for this number 17 team. Is still having issues with our graphics department. But right now what we will do is we will send it off to the race session. And if this bottom bit here can go away, we could show you qualifying. We could show you the grid, which doesn't look like it's going to happen right at this very moment. However, we do have 5 minutes.
Might need to restart the overlay.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. So we have, so while we have a couple of minutes here, and we certainly do, Tony, it is going to be a very interesting race here. We're already seeing some different guys up towards the front, guys that we haven't really seen up towards the front. Ty Majeski gets his first pole award of the year. Sammy Smith is up here as well. Points can definitely change here after tonight's race.
Oh, they can change in a blink of an eye here, especially with the speeds these guys and gals are going to be hitting tonight at Charlotte. Again, you said Ty Majeski, first time he sat on the pole. This is the furthest forward we have seen Majeski. I mean, he normally starts outside of the top 10, but, that team came in here loaded for bear. Sammy Smith, that team has a lot of experience here, being as they're owned by Kyle Busch Motorsports. So that's really going to help them get things sorted out going into tonight. So you've got Roush Fenway on the pole, Kyle Busch Motorsports starting in the top 5, and JR Motorsports starting in the top 5 as well with Josh Berry. So, the teams that have those NASCAR affiliations, the top 3 tier affiliations, are really showing their prowess here at Charlotte. And I would dare say that at least those 3 teams have come here with a special package that might be a little bit different than we're going to see for the rest of the season from those guys.
I'm sure they have. And we will now go to the grid. Ty Majeski on pole with a 29.671, beating out Eddie MacDonald by 12 100ths of a second to make up that front row. Josh Berry and Sammy Smith, as Tony alluded to, sitting on row 2. Sean Woodside and Trevor Huddleston will make up row number 3. Mark Wirtz and Walt Clow in row 4. Andy Allen and Derek Kraus will make up row number 5, with Blaine Roca and Parker Traves making up row 6. Row 7 goes to Tanner Reef and Dominic Lopez, with row 8 going to Cole and John Moore.
Jeremy Dawson, Corey Heim going to roll it off in row number 9, with row 10 going to Derek Griffith and Jake Drew. Toni Breidinger, your points leader, going to roll it off in row number 11 next to Austin Herzog. Is Wayne Stokes and Coley Howard going to roll it off in row number 12. Row 13 is going to go to Austin Maynard and Gio Selzy, starting shotgun on the field. And this is becoming a habit that I don't think he wants to continue, is the 35 of Carson Quapple.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Quapple not having the run this season that he would have expected to be having throughout this year. So it's going to be, but again, with these cars, it's going to be a race where you don't necessarily know where you're going to end up just yet. Of course, handling is going to come into effect, but with these cars, it's going to race, we're expecting it at least, to race kind of the way Atlanta races with the Cup cars right now.
Pretty much, yeah. You're going to have to time your runs. You're going to have to time it almost to perfection. And we're going to see a lot of pinching to get the passes made. With these cars having such a big blade in the back of them, you're punching a bigger hole than you would probably see anywhere else, aside from the trucks, through the air tonight, because that rear blade is just so high on the deck lid. You're going to get good runs on someone, but it's what you're going to be able to do with it. You're going to have to time it just right to make that move stick, throw the block in the middle of the corner, and then continue on the drive off and really try to stack up everybody behind you to try to get a little bit of a getaway. Absolutely.
As we'll take a look at the weather conditions here for tonight's race, just a bit after 7 p.m. In sim time here on this 30th day of July 2022. Ambient temperature 78 degrees, 80-degree track temperature. Winds are blowing towards the south, gusting now up to about 8 miles an hour, between 5 and 8 miles an hour. Could wreak a little bit of havoc with these guys going through these turns.
It's going to really wreak havoc coming through turn 4 and into the dog leg, because you're going to have the entirety of the infield for that wind to get down to track level, because you've got the banking to kind of protect you through 1 and 2. But once you get into 3, you're hitting that crosswind, and that could wreak hell, especially on older tires.
Well, the benefit of getting that crosswind is that it's going to be going into those billboards down in turn number 3, so it could help kind of shield it just a little bit as the cars are rolling off here for what will be one pace lap here before we get rolling in this race tonight. Tony, we've seen an incredible race this season. We have our second Crown Jewel race of the season this week. We have our third next week, and then of course the 5 Flags for the season finale. This is going to be one that everyone has a chance to win and that everyone is going to want to win.
It absolutely is. And, you just got to bide your time, mind your manners, mind your P's and Q's, give and take a little bit early so that you have a car at the tail end of this thing to really race for it. As Ty Majeski leads him into turn number 3, first time he's going to have the button all season. And I know he's going to be excited for that when his pace car is ready to duck on off. The only thing that's left for me to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some barbecue because it's time to get it on in the Queen City. Race fans, it's showtime!
Green flag is out for 150 laps here at Charlotte, and a great getaway early for Ty Majeski. Just looking through the rest of the field, side by side, most of the way through. Josh Berry, another top 3 NASCAR Series regular, now moves into second.
Sean Woodside down on that bottom side. He's the only one that's using the bottom lane right now. He's going to pinch up on the 51 of Smith, and Smith not going to be in the draft coming through the dog leg as MacDonald now goes to the top side. They'll let Woodside get up into 4th, Smith back to 5th.
A lot of guys using that middle, at least for right now. Now ducking down to the bottom, a little bit of a wiggle there out of the 55 of Mark Wirtz as he holds on to that 6th position. 3 wide for the very last positions. That's Carson Quapple, Colby Howard, Austin Maynard, right at the back running 3 wide.
Well, they were 3 wide in front of them, too, as contact in the back of the field.
Oh, into the
wall. We got one into the wall.
Yep, it looks like Trevor Huddleston in the 50.
Oh, he blasted the wall coming off of 4.
But he is slow, and it looks as though he's going to come to a stop. And that will be caution number 1.
Well, we almost got a lap in.
Oh, we got 2.
Oh, yeah, we did get 2.
So we'll try to see what happened here with Trevor Huddleston as the field gets back to the start-finish line. Down the back, there's Huddleston.
Clow goes 3 wide. So Clow gets into the 55. Oh! 2 minutes boarding.
That's what we just about saw happen with Austin Maynard and Carson Kvapil just ahead of these guys, or just behind these guys. Like, that was almost picture perfect.
Yeah, it was almost a mirror of what we saw at the tail end of the field, except nobody got into the wall there. But here comes the 55, bang! Just completely took the front end off the 50, and he goes to the tail end of the field and tows it to the pit. Looks like he might have broken the right front suspension arm off that car.
One would anticipate. As we'll take a look at this from onboard Toni Breidinger's number 25, as she got caught up in this. There you see the incident happening up at the top and having to slow way down, almost running over the back of Derek Griffith in the 12. Austin Herzog getting a piece of her on the back bumper. As there is Griffith there. Toni Breidinger, current points leader, coming into this race, appears to have gotten away with minuscule damage.
I think she did just ever so slightly touch the 12. There's a little bit of a crinkle in that right front fender on the 25, but kind of surprising to see the 8 come down.
Yeah, coming in from second place was the 8 of Josh Berry. Fuel only stops down the line, it would appear.
Interesting.
Everybody else on track again.
Those teams must be expecting a long green flag run here, as so far only one of the starters not out on track.
That would be, as you would imagine, the 50 of Trevor Huddleston. Interesting for Huddleston, he's out of this race here early, at least for the moment. He was not the first one to cross the line to take time in qualifying, as he has been all season long, and he's finished every single race this season thus far.
Well, that might have been his jinx tonight.
There you go.
As Ty Majeski gonna have the button when we go back to green. Andy MacDonald, Sean Woodside, Sammy Smith, Derek Kraus, Parker Traves, help me out here, Allen.
Andy Allen.
Andy Allen. Yeah, I wanted to say Trevor, but Andy Allen, Dominic Lopez, Cole Moore, and Wirtz rounding out your top 10. So still a lot of racing left here. And, you know, those McAnally cars, they're really going to have to turn the wick up here in the second half of the season, as only Kraus is inside the top 10 right now.
Derek Kraus running in 5th right now. You could probably see.
I mean, in the
top
points.
Yeah. Oh, that too.
He's the only one of those cars in the top 10 in points.
99.
Moore has had some atrocious races. Gio Scelzi has not found his stride yet. Mm-hmm. You know, so they're going to have to get it figured out, but hopefully they can get it done tonight.
Where these guys are running on track right now, by the way, 5th place for Kraus, 20th for Cole Moore, and then 26th for Gio Scelzi. However, put the asterisk next to Moore and Scelzi. Both of them came into pit during this caution. However, Scelzi is running right now in the same position which he started, as we get set to double file up and get these restarts going.
Absolutely. As they start to double up, I got to say the advantage right now is going to go to Sean Woodside and Derek Kraus, considering they're going to be right behind the button holder and Ty Majeski. And this is one of the better runs we've seen out of the 91 all season. And they definitely picked a hell of a track to really get their season turned around if they can hang on towards the front of this piece and have a similar run to how MacDonald ran last week and lead a good majority of laps. That's definitely going to be a feather in the cap of that 91 team. But we've still got a ton of racing left. We still have a ton of pit stops that those teams are going to have to be almost inch perfect on, and it's not over with by any stretch of the imagination yet.
Again, this is the second of 4 Crown Jewel races on the season, the first being Wilkesboro. Again, this being the second. Bristol coming up next week will be the third. And then the fourth will be the season finale, where we'll be crowning a champion at Five Flag Speedway. A lot of great racing still to come here. We've only got 5 more races, believe it or not, after this on the season. This season has gone by incredibly quickly. We've seen some great racing, and we're going to continue to see it here tonight. Green flag is back in the air. Another great start for Ty Majeski. Sean Woodside, Tony, as you predicted, up to second.
He's battling MacDonald on the top side. Top side is not where you want to be in the early going. There's not a lot of rubber laid down up there. So these guys are kind of tiptoeing up in that virgin concrete as they pretty much single filed out for the top 8, as we've got one of the Sunrise Fords down on the low lane.
Tanner Reef on the inside as Jake Drew almost gets hit in the door by Austin Herzog in the 11. A little bit of a bottleneck as Blaine Roca comes close to the wall coming out of turn 4 in the 98.
Had to have been a pucker moment for Corey Heim as he was flirting with Roca there, as here comes the 29 to the inside of Roca. Roca definitely lost a ton of momentum, and momentum is going to be key here as we've got 3 wide going into 2 for second.
That's Sammy Smith on the inside. Watch, a little bit of contact there, and Smith is the one this time that loses out big time on the inside line.
And that stacks MacDonald and Moore up behind him as we've got a new leader at the 45.
No,
actually, we don't. I'm sorry.
You know, Majeski's still holding on to that race lead. Andy Allen slowly working his way up through the field. Up 5 positions already.
He and Kraus go door to door right now. Kraus trying to use that second lane, able to carry the momentum through 3 and 4, and gets the downhill coming off of 4 to get the run, as now Allen is just stacking them up behind him. The only problem is, that was a pucker moment.
19 of Kraus almost blocked off that 22 on the inside, and then came up and did the same exact thing to the 60 of Parker Traves on the outside line. Andy MacDonald in the 17 going 3 wide on the bottom. Another hip check, this time to Sammy Smith. No one on the outside of Smith, though. We keep it clean for the moment at least. Look at John Moore go to the inside of the 24 and the 9.
He got into it with the 24 there coming off of 4. 24 wisely backing out of it, and it kind of saved his own race at that point, as good grief, these guys are racing this like it's the final lap, not just lap 12.
It's an incredible run so far. This is what we were expecting. Want to see what AI could do at a super speedway type setting. This is pretty much it right here, is what we're getting right now as Moore looks to the outside. That's of Tanner Reef in the 9.
3 4 to the inside behind the 60 as Smith caught up on the top side with Moore. And the bottom lane is where you want to be in 1 and 2. The second lane's starting to pay dividends, though, in 3 and 4.
A lot of guys pushing up in the middle of 3 and 4 right now as Parker Traves gets to the bottom. So does Blaine Roca. Top 4 are trying to make a little bit of an escape as now Sean Woodside looks for the race lead on the 91 of Majeski. Derek Kraus looks to take advantage on the high line.
And that's exactly what I was talking about, Frank. Because Majeski's punching such a big hole in the air, Woodside got a run on him coming through 3 and 4. The only problem is once he got out into the clean air, that rear blade just dragged that thing back like a parachute.
Look at Majeski up at the front. Great run going for him so far. Parker Traves side by side in the midfield again. Still can't quite get figured out. John Moore gets around him. The 24 of Dominic Lopez, who's had a season resurgence after a solid run at Thompson a couple of weeks ago. Had another good run at Concord last week. And this 24 car really making a move back towards the front as Roca and Drake Drew in the 6 come together.
A little bit of a meeting of the minds going through turn 3. Everybody stays pointed in the right direction, though, as now Roca dealing with the 35 back there. Not a happy camper is Roca, as he's been used like a pinball most of the night tonight already.
Absolutely has. I love this long shot down the back straightaway. We're starting to see cars starting to fan out, single file out. We're seeing packs starting to form here, as we're used to doing here at Charlotte. drone cam shot, always nice to see coming down the front straightaway.
Beautiful shot, and hats off to the operator of that drone for being able to keep up with the cars.
Speaking of being able to keep up with the cars, we'll throw the dashboard on Majeski here. 180, just 181 going into the corner as Derek Kraus almost put the bumper to the 91.
It's over 30 miles an hour faster than these guys normally see on a half mile. So it's got to be a little bit sketchy and a little unnerving the first time you realize you're going that fast at a facility.
We've single filed out for the most part here. Now these guys are really going to start to see as far as tire advantage what happens, but here towards the midfield we're still very much racing side by side. Austin Maynard running in 12th right now, sitting in front of the 11 of Austin Herzog, who's finding it entertaining going through turn 3, trying to stay off of Jake Drew. Carson Quapple, who started last, moving up in this race, running 14th right now on that high line.
He absolutely is. He's been picking them off one at a time there. And it seems like he's got that car freed up just enough to be able to roll the corner a little more effectively than anyone around him. And everybody that's trying to hug that bottom, they're kind of binding the car up, almost like what we see in the Gen 6 cars at Daytona and Talladega. That low line, it bogs you down a little bit. So when you get into a side-by-side situation, if you've got the car freed up like Quapple appears to have, you can really make something happen on that second lane.
Quapple working his way forward. It almost feels like this is going to be a situation where, say you're driving the 87 cars around Daytona or Talladega. The official series is at Talladega this week. There's big checkup there by the 98 of Blaine Roca. You're almost quicker by yourself than in a pack of these cars, knowing that, well, you can't bump draft, so you can't push the guy along. And you're having to really let up as the 24 has a big moment down there on the bottom, losing a ton of time.
The apron going into 1, and that really checked him up as the 12 taking evasive actions to get around him. And don't look now, but that's Gio Scelzi making his charge towards the front.
Scelzi right now in that 16 Napa machine on the outside line, running in 20th. But going back to my point, knowing that you don't have to check up to keep off of the guy in front of you, it feels a lot quicker to run around this place by yourself than it is in the pack.
It does, but you got to think that right now the 19 of Kraus is getting a pull from Majeski down the back chute. Next time they go down the back chute, I'd love to see what type of speeds Kraus is able to hit in the draft.
Side by side behind them with Sean Woodside and Sammy Smith. Or pardon me, Mark Wirtz, my bad.
Yeah, Sammy Smith's still in the pits.
As we will jump on board with Derek Kraus right now. About the same speed as that 91. You heard that big let off there. That's the back end of the car starting to give up a little bit. Working deep into this run thus far, working lap 24 of 150.
I mean, they're still almost 178 going into turn 1. That's remarkable.
For these cars especially, as we're starting to see pairs break off here. Majeski up at the front. Good now by a half a second over Derek Kraus and Andy Allen. Those two in a pair. Woodside and Wirtz are starting to close back in on the 19 and 22, but they're in a pair. There's Sammy Smith with Eddie MacDonald behind him. Then a second and a quarter behind them is this trio here. This is John Moore, Tanner Reif, and Parker Traves.
You got to think that for Moore, this has got to be at least a emotional, a win, knowing that the Sunrise Fords are always fast whenever they show up.
Oy.
As Reif
really diving it into 3.
He's going to lose his spot as Corey Heim right now in a Sunrise Ford sandwich in that Toyota Camry of his. Now on the top side as here comes the 6 to his inside. Still side by side is Heim going to have the drafting advantage down the backstretch, and they're doing the Indy Snake. Awesome.
It's nice to see that I know their AI and the paint schemes, any paint scheme could be put on these cars, as it looks like we're coming in for pit stops here. Yes, we are. Everybody coming in.
That's actually shocking.
Not the biggest fuel tank on these cars, and the only cars that stayed out are the cars that came into pit on lap 4. So that hands the lead of the race over to Walt Clough in the 46.
Yeah, but things are going to flip-flop as soon as those guys are done with their pit stops, especially if they take 4.
And they are.
You know, these guys, yeah, they are. And these guys that have stayed out are going to be on the older tires. Yes, you know, they're going to be able to put these guys a lap down for the most part, as Selzy working the inside of the 8, trying to make something happen there. And Selzy catches the apron. That's going to check him up. And Selzy back to 5th.
Selzy falling in behind Derek Griffith. Tony, I was going to say Tony Stokes and Wayne Breidinger there, but as
they got that backwards.
Yeah, as I did. As there is Breidinger, that's the highest she's been all race right now, running in 7th. Dominic Lopez comes into pit. He was the last of the guys that had not come down pit road originally to bring it on down. Looks like these guys are going to be staying out at least one more lap. Ty Majeski was the first one off of pit road. Derek Kraus running 0.7 of a second behind him. And then it's Mark Wirtz, a full 1.5 seconds behind Kraus. So just as we're used to seeing with these guys actually racing, big gaps forming on these big racetracks coming out of pit stops.
Not a big shocker, is, you know, there's definitely differences in the pit strategies. And that's one of the things we've been seeing. And here we go is, yep, those guys that did come down under the caution, coming down to fuel up the tank. So we're looking about 27 laps with a caution. So that would put us right around 25 to 26 under anger.
I think it might be a little less than that. It might be 22 to 25.
Yeah, you're right. So we're looking about a 6-stop race now.
It's going to be quite a bit more pit stops than these guys are used to, that's for certain. As Ty Majeski now will retake the race lead, as some of these guys on their way out, not taking 4 tires this time by. Some of them going fuel only, some might be going 2 tires. Walt Clough waltzing out of the pits. Here's Ty Majeski. He might not get all of these guys. He'll get some of them, not all of them.
Well, it depends on what happens to Clough in front of him. As there's Breidinger on the low side. Clough able to get down in a way. That is the 75 and the 16. Majeski with a full head of steam, though. Clough still holds the race lead.
Yep, Clough a second clear of Derek Griffith, and Griffith now 2.5 seconds clear of the 91 of Majeski. And I think I'm thinking here, these guys took 2 because during the caution on lap 3, they came into pit and took 4.
Absolutely, and you know that's one of the things that you got to be mindful of all week. Is that is Breidinger and Kraus going after each other.
So this worked out quite nicely for those guys, as Josh Berry now in a little bit of a breakaway. This is with Wayne Stokes in the 92, the 55 of Mark Wirtz, and Colby Howard, who was running stone dead last that whole entire first run, now up in 11th.
I mean, a lot of side-by-side racing here tonight at Charlotte. Very uncharacteristic of what we would have expected to see. I would have, you know,
Parker Traves in the 60. Sorry to cut you off.
He caught the wall.
Yep, he did. Keeping it off the racetrack. He's off the racing surface right now. So a caution should not fly here, as now there is the race leader, and the caution has come out.
Unfortunately, the tow truck couldn't get to him quick enough. Well then, that's going to make things interesting.
So caution flies for Parker Traves in the 60. We'll see what happened with him. Getting a bump from John Moore. Going into turn 1. Oh!
Oh my goodness.
John Moore caught the back of the 99 of Cole Moore and sent the 99 shooting straight up into the side of the 60.
That was a hard hit. That's definitely suspension damage. I mean, you can see the right side of that car completely pancaked, and I dare say that they broke the track bar on that rear axle, because that axle looked like it was walking when he was trying to get it to a stop.
See it again here. Oh, he tried to go 3 wide, and Cole Moore had slowed down big time. John Moore tried to slip it through the middle and just did not work. Let's go one more time.
That's why we call it the sucker hole, because you have no air getting to your rear spoiler coming up through the middle like that.
This is from John Moore. Oh.
And that's exactly what John just experienced. The back end just started to wash on him, and up the track he went. The only problem is there was a car there. So now the question is, who's going to come down? Really?
Yeah, the group that didn't stop under the first caution has stopped on this one. And
Interesting.
So now they have the 4-lap advantage as compared to this group here. So we've got 2 distinct groups that have formed in this race. The interesting
they say that racing is a cerebral sport as much as it is a physical sport. And, I've had friends all my life say, I don't get it. What do you like about racing? Okay, not everybody gets it, because it's a very cerebral sport. It's for smart people. It really is. Smarter than I am, and I freely admit that.
Parker Traves officially done for the night. Trevor Huddleston still holding out hope in that number 50, but it is highly doubtful that he will return to the racetrack. Been on pit road for 20 minutes at this point. We'll take a look now at the upcoming schedule here on ESPN and note the new home for that graphic, as I can't seem to move it anywhere else. The ISNF Cup Series tomorrow night and Sunday night NASCAR as well. So a Sunday doubleheader tomorrow night. That will be from Pocono for the ISNF Cup Series at 5:20 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Sunday night NASCAR will come to you from the Indianapolis Road Course, our first broadcast from the newly introduced to iRacing Indianapolis Road Course. They've updated that racetrack. Only the road course, not the oval, because why would you bother? And then on Monday, it'll be the CleanRacing.net Truck Series. They will be at Lucas Oil Speedway, formerly known as Indianapolis Raceway Park, formerly known as O'Reilly Raceway Park. Again, 8:20, another 8:20 start on Tuesday night. The AARL Cup Series will run at Pocono, round number 3 of their season. Then 20 minutes later will be the Rick Motec Cup Series from Watkins Glen. That will be an 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time start. And then the nightcap will be the Western States Racing League. They will also be at Lucas Oil Raceway this week on Tuesday night. So a lot of races coming from Indianapolis over the course of these next couple of nights here on the eSports Broadcasting Network.
Absolutely, and looking forward to it as the field starts to double up behind that pace car. Walt Clow going to have the button as we get ready to turn them back loose. And, Frank, I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but those pit strategies are definitely something we're going to have to be mindful of as, Majeski and Kraus back there came down under that caution, put 4 fresh shoes on those cars, and this is going to be interesting to watch.
It certainly is, and I would anticipate the top 10 at least having to come down to pit. Oh, boy, I would say maybe
4 more times.
Well, now I'm trying to figure out what lap. I would say maybe lap 55, 60 is the next time the top 10 at least.
They were last down on 30, and they were able to get to lap 29 with a caution thrown in there. Yeah, I'm thinking probably before we get out of the 50s, we're going to be seeing the top handful of cars there, probably the top 8 come down.
Dominic Lopez will certainly be coming in first. He last came into pit on 27. So he will be the first one to go. And once we see him go, we will know pit stops will soon arrive as green flag is back out here at Charlotte. A great start by Walt Clow as Derek Griffith and Jeremy Doss battle for second. And now the points leader, Toni Breidinger, found herself up here at the front thanks to pit strategy. She's looking for third.
Absolutely. She's working side by side with the 12. Now gets a run on the 75. Toyota and Toyota Crime for second place. Breidinger runs him up the track. Gets it collected back down, but the 75 going to have the run down the hill.
Hard into the wall, 99.
Ooh, Moore just pancaked that car.
Cole Moore and Ty Majeski.
Oh. They tried to go 3 wide and failed.
That's the 99 of Majeski torn up. There's Cole Moore. Majeski had to have been the one in the middle as the caution comes out again. He's torn up on both sides of the car.
He absolutely is. That was a shot.
Absolutely was. So we'll take a look and see what happened from turn 4. They go battling. Oh, he wasn't. Oh, it was. Oh.
Ouch.
It was Derek Kraus looking to the middle on the 99. And it was John Moore that ends up coming up and hitting the 91 in the door. There's Cole Moore, slides up to the outside. Ooh. Jake Drew gets a piece of it. Eddie MacDonald, pardon me, gets a piece of it in 17.
Just as we've expected when we saw the weather conditions tonight, coming out of turn 4, that transition coming off the banking into the dog leg is treacherous enough. Then you add a 5-mile-an-hour wind gusting up to 7, and it's going to wreak hell.
This is Cole Moore. See his view of it gets clipped just slightly. Austin Maynard, a lot of nose damage on that car.
And you saw how high in the air the 91 went when the 27 got into his back bumper. That's sketchy.
It's on board of Maynard, and he just had nowhere to go.
And, I mean, you could see it right there just how high Majeski's back bumper went when Maynard got into him. That's why we can't see bump drafting here, because you can see where those grill panels are on these cars. I mean, it's almost like a dirt nose on these super late models.
And just slowly gets in there, but just that little bit of contact right there is enough to trigger all of this. The 22 might have caught the wall as well on the outside there in the back on the far right side of your screen. Just a lot happening in a very small amount of space as Andy Allen, there he is in pit road right now, did catch a little bit of damage. So did Jake Drew. We saw that. So it's Walt Clow right now. the one who is currently in control of this field. And what we'll do right now is we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching round number 11 of the Super Late Model AI series from Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be back right after this. Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field worked its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
About to begin lap number 45 here from Charlotte Motor Speedway, completing our 4th caution of the evening. Green flag is back in the air. Walt Clow, another very good restart from the front.
Still side by side behind him, though. And this is as far forward as we've seen Gio Scelzi most of this season. Toni Breidinger, your points leader, currently sitting right behind him. As, you know, those guys that did come down to take tires, not really making the most of it right now.
Some of them got caught up in that last incident as we see the 27 of John Moore, all that right front damage that that number 27 has. We can also see his teammate in the 29, or at least a similar variant on that car. 29 of Austin Maynard, all the front end damage that he has as well on that car, still plugging away.
Very much so. Is Clow pointing it in the right direction right now. He does have a good freight train behind him in the form of Griffith, Breidinger, and Scelzi, and they're 3 wide again. They were for a second there.
Josh Berry in the 8 on the inside line, the 81 of Colby Howard on the outside line. Colby Howard, winner at Thompson in that number 81. Trevor Huddleston is back on track in the 51. Parker Treyes, we had called him out earlier on. He is back on pit road trying to repair that car. The 99 and the 91 also on pit road. Andy Allen in the 22 and Jake Drew in the 6. Currently running a lap down right now in the 22nd and 23rd positions as we watch this side-by-side battle. That's Kraus and Lopez on the outside line, and Stokes and Quapple, it would appear, on the inside.
Stokes just hugging that blue line. Gets a little bit squirrely, catches the apron. That's going to let Quapple get to his outside coming down the backstretch. And that's going to give Lopez and Kraus a little bit of breathing room there on in front of him. As here comes Lopez to the outside of Kraus now.
Lopez to that outside. Oh boy, Sean Woodside in the background. Almost got sent up into the side of the 27 of Moore, off the door of the 11 of Austin Herzog. Just a lot of close beating and banging racing, and just the way the AI are taking some of these lines, it's creating a lot closer moments than there need to be. Speaking of closer moments than there need to be, this is Quapple going 3 wide and
Here
putting
comes the
Derek
next
Kraus
caution.
in the wall.
And it's going to stack up John Moore behind him. So
it's the way the AI are coming up off of these corners. Kraus is rolling it, and he doesn't appear to be too broken as compared to the other drivers, so he might be able to make it all the way around to get onto pit road here. Anyone else would have stopped by now.
You can see all the right front fender damage. That sheet metal is caved right in on the right side of the 19. Looks like the suspension arm's still attached, so
this is on
it
the
wasn't
right
as
front of that
hard.
19.
It is not a hard of a hit as we have seen. So
he just broke the left front as well, trying to get into pit road.
Yeah, saw that. So he gets to pit road. We stay green, and Cloud still has the lead.
Cloud and Griffith. Well, Cloud has broken away 3/4 of a second over Derek Griffith and Toni Breidinger. Breidinger all over the back end of that 12. And Gio Selzy holding up a little bit of a group now behind him. That's Lopez. Oh boy, Doss 3 wide on the bottom. Josh Berry also there. So is Colby Howard.
These guys are racing like it's lap 149 as opposed to only 54.
But if you do what we're doing right now, and if you watch the AI, it doesn't matter if it's Cup, Xfinity, Truck, or ARCA. If you take the AI and just sit back and watch how they run at Daytona or Talladega, this is what they do. It's 3 wide the entire time. No room for error. 3 wide all the way around until pit stops start up.
And they are at that. And like you said, we're going to see probably Lopez being the first one to peel on off, as he was the first one to come pit side last time. So he's going to be the tattletale of when these guys are going to start coming down next time. Hopefully we get a decent green flag run in here, as that's Stokes going side by side back there.
That's Stokes with Josh Berry side by side. Carson Quapple ducks back to the bottom in the 35. Quapple started in last, running 10th right now in that number 35 machine. Stokes now appears to be stuck on the bottom. There goes Corey Heim. A great run for the 20 of Corey Heim to the inside and taking that position away from Quapple in the 35.
Then drives up in front of him and try to get around Stokes. Stokes starting to have a little bit of trouble, as you know, the only track north of the border that these guys are going to even have a shot at experiencing something like this here at Charlotte is going to be Ontario, Cayuga up in northern Ontario. And I don't think Stokes has driven that track much, as we've got a slugfest right now for third.
This is Toni Breidinger currently running in third, Griffith in second, and she is glued to the back end of that number 12. Dominic Lopez in pit road now in the 24. So pit stops are not that far away for these guys. Blaine Roca came in a lap prior. Colby Howard battling with Gio Selzy, this now for fourth. Selzy on the high line. Would appear, at least for the moment, to have the advantage, but once you get into the corner entry, it's inside. Corner exit, it's outside.
Selzy trying to hang on up there, as they've got an angry pack of wolves starting to form behind them, so they're going to have to get this sorted out pretty quick.
That's Jeremy Dawson, the 75 Immediately behind this pair, aid of Josh Berry there as well. Still side by side. Walt Clow in, Derek Griffith in. That gives Toni Breidinger a lap lead. No bonus points handed out anywhere in this series. It's strictly where you finish, so it doesn't mean much, but Breidinger, points leader right now, out in front, always a nice feeling.
Yeah, it absolutely is. You know, and her best finish is second twice. She's looking to get that breakthrough here tonight at Charlotte.
And last week was not by much, just 0.14 of a second. She finished in second, too, at Concord, having another good race in the North Carolina track. Colby Howard, Jeremy Doss, Wayne Stokes, Josh Berry all in. This gives the lead to Gio Scelzi in the 16, with Breidinger's Venturini Motorsports teammate Corey Heim right behind Scelzi.
Scelzi trying to hold on right now as he is coming in. And that's a good head of steam. Is he going to get... That was a charge to the line.
So now that leaves Corey Heim in the race lead. Corey Heim right now, the first of the drivers that came into pit on lap 35. The top 10 currently running came in on lap 35. Everybody else has pit later. So it is Heim, Quapple, Wirtz, Sammy Smith, battling with Walt Clow, who just came out of pit road. Clow not for position for him. However, the 45 of Woodside behind the 51 is.
So we're looking sometime within the next 5 laps or so to see the 51, 45 and company all starting to come down pit road as they pit under the previous 2 cautions. So they do have just a little bit of a fuel advantage over everybody else.
See the pit stop lap for the top 5. Sammy
Here
Smith
we go.
in. Tanner Reef gets promoted into the top 5. Yep, that's 3 wide. Blaine Roca, who's already come into pit against Austin Herzog and Eddie MacDonald, who have not. Toni Breidinger coming up now with a head of steam.
She's on full tilt boogie right now as she looks to the outside of MacDonald going through 3 and 4. And she is, wow, what a run.
Hyman Wirtz in, Woodside, Reef, Herzog, MacDonald in. That gives the lead of the race to Carson Quapple in the 35. Walt Clow currently running in 8th officially. He will be the effective race leader once pit stop cycle out. Breidinger 2nd, Lopez 3rd is how these guys will run. Andy Allen, boy, really pushing up on that 24. Allen does have to pit. He last came into pit on lap 41. Same with the 6 of Jake Drew behind him. But positions have really shuffled up here with this pit stop. Quapple is
in. So it's going to hand the lead of the race back over to Walt Clow once they come back around to the start-finish line. So effective race lead is the 46. Breidinger, Lopez, Drew, and Allen. And Drew and Allen both still have to come down for their next pit stop as they were last down quite a few laps ago.
Lap 41 is the last time those guys were down pit road, battling each other now for what, my goodness, would be the effective lucky dog spot. What is right now for 4th. Derek Griffith looking to make it 3 wide on the high side. Not quite enough momentum to get him there. And Andy Allen will come down pit road.
Andy Allen was in danger of possibly speeding there as he almost, he did lock him up coming to the cone.
It is quite entertaining to see how much these guys can get on pit entry.
Absolutely.
It is quite awesome to see. As Jake Drew, we're expecting Drew to come in this time. Yeah, he's leaving Griffith plenty of room. Let's jump on the right front wheel. See how much he locks this up. Ooh, I thought
not much at all.
Yeah, no, I thought that would be a little bit more dramatic than it was. So that's Jake Drew down pit road. There is your race leader. Walt Clow in the 46. Toni Breidinger 2 seconds behind him, stuck behind lap car Blaine Roca.
She knows there's a lot of racing left to do. She's not under pressure from behind, so she's not really pushing the issue with Roca right now. But she's staying with him, using him as a fuel pig so she can try to save a little bit, maybe get another lap or two out of that fuel tank.
Talk about a lot of racing left to go, Tony. We're not at halfway yet. We still got about 6 or 7 laps to go before we hit halfway. Looking at the time here, we're at about a minute 10 on an hour 10 on the broadcast. We're usually crowning a winner at this point. We're not even at halfway here.
Well, it was your idea to do 150 laps at Charlotte.
Well, it's a crown jewel race. It's a big race. Make it a little bit longer. Make it feel a little bit more special.
Track.
Make it feel a little bit more special. You make the race a little longer.
Okay, but let's face it, Frank. This track is twice as large as most of the tracks we're going to visit this season.
It's not 400 laps. It's not 600 miles.
Thank goodness for that.
Gio Scelzi gets into the top 5. With that pass on Corey Heim. Colby Howard not that far behind. Now make it Corey Heim out in front with Scelzi not far behind.
Scelzi working on Heim right now. Scelzi looking at the inside, going into 3 side by side they go. Scelzi slips up a little bit. Heim pinching him down in the middle of the corner. Scelzi not getting the run. Heim does get the run down the hill. Heim with a half a fender out front. Scelzi and Heim still side by side, locked at the hip. And that's letting Quapple and company close in on them from behind.
I want to be fair. I'm not complaining when I say that we're not even halfway through and we're usually crowning a winner here. It's been great racing here thus far. Close side-by-side racing. Something completely different that we've seen from these cars at least. And I know we go to Charlotte every year with almost every league that we do, but this has a completely different feel to it than any of the top 3 series that we broadcast from here at Charlotte.
It really does, because these cars were never really built to be on a track this size. They were really meant for your half mile, your 3/4 mile, 3/8 mile, the short tracks. And when you put them on a track like this, it's akin to putting a Gen 6 car or an Xfinity car or one of the touring trucks at a place like Talladega or Daytona. These guys are really showing who their engine builders are right now. And that's the biggest key. With Walt Clow, him and his brother build all their own engines. So hats off to them for bringing a solid piece here tonight to Charlotte.
Great night here of racing thus far. Toni Breidinger might want to consider getting around Blaine Roca here at this point, as we'll take a look at the delta between her and not Lopez, her and Clow. That staircase is going the wrong way. She is steadily losing time, not just to Clow, but back to Dominic Lopez as well. So Breidinger, as much as she's saving fuel right now, not going to do her any good if she can't jump the 46 in the pit stops.
You're absolutely correct in that assertion. But she hasn't. That's the thing about Breidinger. She hasn't been overly aggressive throughout the season. She brings the car home in one piece more times than not, and she's leading the series in top 5s and top 10 finishes. Most laps completed and lowest incident count of any driver. So, she's a calculating driver, and right now she's not calculating that she needs to get by Roca, but if I was her crew chief or her spotter up on the either one of those 2 stands, I'd be telling her it's time to go.
Fastest car in the top 5 that last lap was the man that currently is hunting Breidinger down right now. That is Dominic Lopez in the 24. A 30.35. Everyone else did a 30.3 or 30.5 or slower. So this 24 right now is scooting as Walt Clow able to get a little bit of a draft off of Parker Traves. Does a 31.9. 30.19, I should reiterate.
That's hauling the mail for certain.
So Traves back out after crash damage. Huddleston back out. Kraus and Majeski are not. We're not expecting Kraus out anytime soon. Majeski could be close to coming back out on track. A little bit further back, the 92 of Wayne Stokes trying to work his way back up just outside the top 10. Running in 12th right now is battling with Sammy Smith in the 51, Tanner Reef in the 9. And behind them, there's another mess of cars.
Don't do it. Don't do it. He did it.
Well, they're three abreast. At least the 51 of Smith had some room to move up the track.
Stokes had that well spotted and lifted when he should have, so he didn't get into a 3-wide situation going in the middle of 3 and 4, because that has been calamity corner all night long so far.
That exit of turn 4 has claimed every single driver that has issues here tonight. It has been that corner. Josh Berry running in 14th right now is the leader of this next pack that currently follows him around. Out of turn 4.
And all those cars up there, Jake Drew is the only one that's not on the same lap as the cars around him. I take that back. Allen back there is also not on the lead lap.
You know, Allen and Drew are the two that are battling to be the first car. I'll take that back as well. Blade Roca down pit road. Caution is out.
What the hell happened?
And it's Tanner Reef.
Oh, no.
That's in the middle of 4.
Well, what happened to him? Because
we were just watching that battle there.
We were watching his teammate anyways.
So here's Tanner. This is from the lap before. Still battling with Smith and Stokes. I'm getting the feeling that he wanted to run the middle, and so did one of the two drivers behind him, and it turned him into the wall.
Okay, so this is where Stokes backed out of it.
I think he's
right
getting ready
there.
to hit. Oh, yep. Okay, so yep, that's where that's at. Let's actually go up a little bit further here.
No, just let it run, because it was the next lap. This next lap coming up is when he biffed.
Just seen just tough fighting the whole time. Finally, Sammy Smith able to get around. Now Stokes. See what happens here. Oh, it's going to be another lap at least. Here, let's try to. Let's go back to this here, or up to this, I should say. Here we go, down the back straightaway.
Stokes looking to the inside with a good head of steam.
And oh wow, Reef. Hip check and climb the wall. Now
Thank goodness for catch hunters.
I was going to say, now that we know what we're looking for. Just all of a sudden, a wild 92 appears.
And it wasn't even, it didn't even look like that hard of a contact, but that just goes to show you just how much on the ragged edge these drivers have their cars tonight.
Eddie MacDonald comes down pit road. Austin Maynard, John Moore, Austin Herzog in as well. Walt Clow did come into pit under this caution. So did Toni Breidinger. The rest of these guys coming in now are lapped down. So everyone did come down pit road this time that needed to come down, which means we don't have a group that's on a different strategy. Everyone's on the same strategy now.
That's going to make things interesting on a level playing field. I mean, we know that just about everybody, at least in the top 5, not the easiest cats to get around, all things considered and everything being equal. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what type of restart Breidinger can get on the outside of Walt Clow, because Clow has just been killing the restarts.
Yeah, the inside line has been very, very good to these drivers on restarts. Not just good to the race leader, but also good to whoever's running in third. Has not been good to the second place runner, who's typically lost a spot, maybe 2, in the process here. So the guys you would be watching right now are, of course, Walt Clow in the race lead and Colby Howard running in third.
Breidinger and Selzy and those 2 Toyotas are definitely going to be up against it here on the restart, as Breidinger not going to have as good of a look at Clow as she probably really wants. But yeah, the 81 of Colby Howard is definitely going to have the advantage on the restart, because he's going to be able to see more effectively when Clow goes as opposed to Breidinger.
Here's Walt Clow. Also notice it, just see how high up that wheel is, almost immediately in his line of vision. Something we don't usually see in these cars. They're usually a little bit lower than the line of vision.
He wants that red stripe in the middle of the steering wheel to be able to tell him when he's got that wheel straight, and he doesn't have to look down at it with where it's sitting right now.
See the field behind him starting to double up. So we are getting ready to go back to green flag racing here. So we'll jump
and there
on
you
board.
can see just how tall that blade is in the back of these cars.
And
yes, it is Lexan, so you can see the driver in the car from behind, so the blade is not hindering somebody waving, "Hey, I'm slowing down," because hand signals are still a big thing to let everybody around you know what the hell's going on.
It's on board of Jeremy Doss, by the way, and again, that is a very big part of that being that clear Lexan that you had mentioned. So you can, it's just important. You don't just want to be able to see through your own car. You want to be able to see through the car in front of you as well, which is why Truck Series racing could be a little bit hectic, because where you sit in relation to what you can see over the spoiler on the truck it's a little bit compromising. As here we go back to green flag racing yet again. Clow with a very good restart, and it's Colby Howard for second.
Howard and Breidinger go side by side into turn number 1. Breidinger going to have to keep it wound up in that second lane. Howard with the advantage coming off a 2. He's going to be able to slot up in front of her. Does pinch. She lets him in. And here comes the 12. And he's got company behind him. And they're 3 wide for third.
That's Carson Quapple in the 35. Couldn't quite get next to him. Got close, but not quite there. As Quapple still battling side by side with Gio Selzy. These are 2 guys we have not seen up at the front of this season thus far. And again, these are the 2 that qualified in last and about next to last in this race, now battling inside the top 5.
They are at that, and I just saw some good news. If you are a McAnally fan, Cole Moore is back out on track.
Cole Moore is back out. The only 2 that are not on track, Tony, the 2 Sunrise cars, Drew and Reef. Only 2 that are in pit road.
This North Carolina swing has just been detrimental to that team. As Breidinger gets back up into second, we are 3 wide, and Majeski and Moore rubbing fenders going into 3. Roca up there as well.
That was Lopez.
That was Lopez, I'm sorry.
Corey Heim trying to sneak his way through. Early stages in these runs are quite tense because
Three
of what
wide
we've
still.
seen. Sammy Smith
good
looking to go
grief.
3 wide on Derek Griffith. Griffith now looking to sneak up through the middle. Couldn't quite do it. Well, it just makes you want to sit back and just watch.
It's taken my breath away, that's for darn sure. As now Smith and the 55 go door to door. Wayne Stokes right there as well. Griffith still working the inside of Selzy, trying to get the run. Selzy able to use that outer lane to his advantage to carry more momentum through the corner. As he now pulls alongside of Griffith again. Griffith gonna dive it, going into one. Full send mode as Heim in front of them, starting to make some hay on the 81.
8 of Josh Berry also starting to work his way up, running in 11th right now. Is that Tire Pros number 8? Dominic Lopez, we see him making moves. He is the first car not on the lead lap, and he is the only car that is 1 lap down. So if a caution were to come out here in rather quick order for that 24, he'll be able to get back on the lead lap and be racing these guys for position.
Right behind him.
Yep, it's 3 wide. Turn 2 does seem to be a little bit more calm than turn 4 as far as 3 wide goes.
It's because you have a grandstand and some billboards to block the wind, whereas 4 you don't really have anything to block the wind. And it's a little bit more sketch because that transition off of turn 4 into the dog leg is a hellacious bump by itself. Add the wind and other cars around you, and it's wreaking havoc tonight.
It's also kind of like what we saw earlier this week with the Thunderclap series at Richmond. We talk about at Richmond, the turn 2 wall, well, the wall going onto the back straightaway out of turn 2 just comes back out at you so quick. Feels the same way here at Charlotte, just the way the car gets naturally thrown up out of the turn 4 corner. It just feels like that wall comes out at you a lot quicker than it actually does. As Wayne Stokes looks to the 3rd line, Blaine Rocco also looking to the 3rd line. I don't know what to watch.
He didn't have a choice as he got yeeted by the 8 going into 1, and we're 3 wide.
It's Carson Quapple in the 35, Derek Griffith in the 12.
Corey Heim just let both of them go and said, yeah, go ahead, guys, wad your stuff up. I'm going to be here at the end.
If you want some entertainment and you're bored, don't feel like racing, but you want to watch something, either do this or throw on a super speedway. Any of the top 3 series will do.
This, I think, is more interesting than the super speedways because, again, these cars were never designed to go on a 1.5-mile track. You know, they were originally designed with the pickup points for the suspension to be able to work very well on anything a 1/2 mile and shorter. You know, the fact that we had such a great race at USA is... Selzy was pinching up on Heim there as we're looking back from Quapple. But, you know, the fact that we had such a great race at USA, I was expecting to see something similar to that here tonight, and these guys are definitely not disappointing.
No, absolutely not. This has been some of the best racing I think we've ever seen here at Charlotte. It's at 92 of Stokes, trying to keep that 10th position. Jeremy Doss battling with Austin Herzog. How in the world did Corey Heim end up down there? Not missing anything up at the front. Walt Clow with a 3/4 of a second lead over Toni Breidinger, and these two have broken away from the field. These two battling here for 3rd between Griffith and Howard. Griffith in the 12, Howard in the 81. Are almost 3 seconds behind that group as Sammy Smith is 3 abreast with Corey Heim and Mark Wirtz.
These guys are just, they're putting cars in situations that if you were in an official race in the iRacing servers, you would look at that situation and go, here comes a caution in 3, 2, 1. bang, and these guys are able to make it stick for the most part.
I mean, that's what we've seen all race. Forget about all race, all season. We've seen just this close, incredible side-by-side racing at racetracks for 10, 12, 15 laps that you won't see with real drivers, with the guys driving in the sim. You won't see that for 10, 12, 15 seconds.
If you would have told me we would have seen 3 wide all night at the bull ring before we saw it, I would have told you you were crazy.
And not a caution to be found.
Exactly. Not even a hint at a caution.
And I want to be clear, we've seen a lot of cautions after going six races, the first 6 races of the season without one. We've seen multiple cautions a race from there on out. We have not changed one single setting on these cars for this season. Everything has remained completely the same, completely identical from race number 1 all the way up until now. As Griffith and Howard continue to battle for third. Well, that
it was almost a critical situation between Howard and Griffith.
That AI just does not want to run down on the line. They want to run at least a lane or a lane and a half over it.
Because that's where you don't bog the car down. But if you get into a 2 and 3 wide situation, wow.
That was a big, big use of a pick there by Griffith to pin that 81 of Howard behind Derek Kraus, who's got damage.
Kraus is just trying to get that car to the finish line. He was used as a pinball earlier, but he is back out on track, as is his McAnally teammate in Wood. Cole Moore in the 99. You can see that they really spent some time to get those fenders pushed back out on that car, because that thing was pancaked when he brought it to pit road.
It's the 45 of Sean Woodside battling with Wayne Stokes. Blaine Roca not on the lead lap. Pit stop should be coming up here rather soon. We're over 20 laps into the run. Everyone came down to pit under that last caution back on lap 83. Toni Breidinger has had something happen. She has fallen well off the pace in that 25. It doesn't appear as though she's hit the wall. However, she was 0.7 of a second. She's now almost 2 seconds back.
Yeah, but this is what we see a lot of times in this series. The leader gets into clean air and they're able to kind of stretch it out. Then once they get into traffic, which Cloud's not that far away, once they get into traffic, it lets the second place contender get back to them. As Selzy and Smith still going door to door.
It's for 6th. Again, pit stop cycle is not that far away from commencing, so pit stop should be coming up here soon as the lights are just about to come on here at Charlotte. See the weather conditions, 8:15 p.m. in sim time.
And you see that track temperature is continuing to fall right now as the sun continues to set. 10-mile-an-hour winds. That's sketchy.
These guys are feeling every single bit of it. It's Corey Heim still trying to work against Mark Wirtz. Austin Herzog in the 11 there as well. Heim, the last holder of a position inside the top 10. As Walt Clow has come into pit road.
That hands the lead of the race over to Toni Breidinger.
Breidinger in pit on the racetrack in the race lead. Nobody else coming in.
Clow is stopping a little bit early to hopefully get a tire advantage over everybody around him. This is not the money stop, by the way. They're going to need to pit at least one more time.
Yeah, one more pit stop. Oh, it's Corey Heim.
Caution.
Not quite yet. It's going to come out.
Should be.
Oh, no, it's not. Wow. Now Breidinger and everyone else coming in. How was that not a caution? I guess because the leader wasn't near him.
Yeah, but he was still in the racing line.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
So the drunkard up in the flag stand, a little asleep at the switch there.
And it's not like he had to look far to find that.
Yeah, look right down, stupid.
We'll try
here, you want to borrow my glasses?
Try to see here. This is as there goes Dominic Lopez. We'll try to see what happened here.
Some of the first laps of the season that Stokes has led.
So this is, I think we're a lap shy of when this actually happens, as there goes
Heim to the inside of Works.
Yep, that's Heim to the inside. This is all going to happen
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh, don't do it.
It's going to be next lap, I have a feeling. Eddie MacDonald has come down pit road. Wayne Stokes still out on racetrack, by the way, live. Clow has overtaken Breidinger again. Griffith in third with Howard. A little bit more separation between those guys.
Here we go.
Words to the inside, still in replay. Body check. Boy, almost climbed the wall the same way Tanner Reef did.
And it was almost an identical replay to what we saw with Reef. Everybody else doing a great job to avoid him. And the fact that he's parked it right under the flag stand leaves me wondering.
Oh, Wayne Stokes is out of gas. Caution is out now. Wayne Stokes has run out.
Well, there's our answer of how far you got to go to get to bingo.
About 30 laps, and he's out from 83 to 113.
Well, that's going to shake things up a little bit.
That's unfortunate. He would have had to have run out with how far he coasted. He would have had to have run out going into turn one.
Pretty much, yeah.
Thinking maybe he could make another lap. As this will now bunch the field back up.
Time to fire that team's fuel specialist. If you would like to join the Stokes Motorsports team and the Letterkenny Shamrocks, you can send your email to Wayne Stokes, care of Letterkenny, Ontario, P.O. Box OU 812123.
Let's go back and try to pinpoint here what happened. This is not this incident. Yep, he's already out.
Yeah.
Let's see again. Let's go back a little bit further this time.
I think he's trying to limp it, try to get any fuel to that carburetor, and unfortunately didn't step on the clutch soon enough to let it coast.
Oh, he was out well before turn one.
He was out at the start-finish line. You could hear that car just die.
Boy, and that right there, you saw that big lunge out of the left side of that car. That was the last gasp of it.
Yep, and that was the fuel bowls running dry. Just spit a little fuel, and done.
So Wayne Stokes runs out of gas from the race lead. Josh Berry, John Moore, Eddie MacDonald have all come back down pit road. Same with Sean Woodside, Andy Allen as well. Have all come back down pit lane.
Well, they're trying to pit off sequence because they saw what happened with Clow and company during the first caution. They were able to take over the lead because they were able to stay out a couple laps longer. They're trying that now in the closing laps.
Just one more pit stop to go here in this race. It doesn't matter if you stopped a little bit later under this caution. If you pit right before the caution came out, you're going to have to pit again.
A lot of racing coming up this week on the channel. Tomorrow will be the ISNF Cup Series, round number 3 from Pocono. It'll be a 5:20 Eastern Time start on that one. The nightcap will be Sunday Night NASCAR at the road course at Indianapolis, 8:20 Eastern Time start on that one. And then we stay in Indy for the CleanRacing.net Truck Series, but we are going to go across town to Indianapolis Raceway Park and Lucas Oil Speedway for their next round. It'll be an 8:20 Eastern Time start on that one. And then we go back to Pocono on Tuesday for the AARL Trucker Speed America Cup Series, 8:20 Eastern Time from Pocono on that one. And the Rick Mattek Cup Series will be in my neck of the woods, Watkins Glen, at 8:40 Eastern Time. So a ton of racing left here, Frank. And every one of the series that we broadcast, without a doubt, put on an amazing show week in and week out.
But once again, there's a third race on Tuesday night. That'll be the Western States Racing League there at Lucas Oil as well. So that'll be...
So a lot of Pocono and a lot of Indianapolis tracks.
Yep, a ton coming up here in these next couple of days. Also on Wednesday, the Thunderclap Stock Car iRacing Series, they start their playoffs at Rockingham in the trucks. Tony and I
looking forward to that one.
Yep, absolutely.
I've run that track quite a few times with a couple of leagues that I used to race with. The track is so much fun to try to get around. And it's going to be my first experience up in the broadcast booth at that facility. So really looking forward to that one, as I had my first IHRA Pro Modified race as a tire specialist across the street from that track at the drag strip in Rockingham back in 2007. This is going to be my first broadcast at the Rockingham Oval this coming Wednesday.
So a fun night to be had by all. Also, the Ghost Xfinity Series will be running on Wednesday night this week. I believe they're going to be at either Pocono or Indianapolis as well.
I think they're at Indy. Let me go double check that.
I was going to say, let me take a quick, cheeky little look at that as we're about to get back to Green Flag Racing here.
They are at Atlanta.
Oh, yes, that is right.
However, we do have it scheduled for Way She Goes to be at Indy.
Not sure if Way She Goes will be active this week. I'd have to double check.
Last I knew, they were taking a hiatus. So pretty much the only game in town on Wednesday night
will be Xfinity and Thunderclap.
Ghost, Xfinity, and Thunderclap Truck Series. As the field works its way out of turn number 4, Cloud pulls the trigger, and we are back underway. Breidinger under heavy attack from Griffith right now going into 1.
As we've come to expect out of the driver on the outside line, not getting the best of restarts. Hopefully we can stay green the rest of the way here, as Breidinger gets a solid run coming out of turn 2. However, it doesn't look like it's enough to nose back out ahead of Griffith in the 12 as Griffith takes the spot. Now Breidinger really looking for that second position.
She's using that upper lane to her advantage as Cloud drops down to give Griffith the toe. Breidinger still hanging tough on that top lane. A little bit sideways as Griffith starts to pinch up on her. Boy.
Colby Howard
she is
now
cool as a cucumber right now as Howard slots in behind. Looks like he's trying to give a little arrow advantage to Griffith.
Looked like he was pushing the
don't
20,
do it.
Looked like he was pushing the 25 on entry. Then it looked like he was pushing the 12 on exit. Well, down going into 3. Colby Howard's on his side right now. He's not on Breidinger's side. He's not on Griffith's side. He's on his side right now.
And Gio sells. He's watching those three go after it, and he's going with his Toyota teammate of Toni Breidinger.
Well,
the only Toyota in the McAnally camp as he now drops down to pick up the 81, and we're 3 wide for 5th.
Boy, Woodside getting pinched in the middle there as Wirtz in the 55 able to get clear. Andy Allen once again racing for position in the 22 after getting his laps back, running in 10th.
Barry and MacDonald are both up there as well, as we are still 3 wide. Good grief.
Inside line, though, gets such a good run on corner entry, able to break free of that 3 wide scenario.
He's got to get up there and block, and he does. Blocks MacDonald on corner exit, not giving him the run that he was hoping for, as Breidinger now goes to the inside of Griffith, Breidinger back up into second. Clow still in command.
It's like it takes a couple of laps for the 25 to get those tires under her, and then after that, she is off like a bullet. As there is side by side, that's Wirtz and Woodside, and there is a mess behind them.
That's an angry pack of Hornets, starting with, I believe that's the 12 of Allen?
It's the 22 the 22 of Allen, yes.
22 of Allen, yes. And
it's just...
They're beating and banging behind them.
Just sit back and watch again. That's all it is. It's just sit back and watch.
Good grief.
Austin Maynard on the high line. Nose still punched in from that earlier incident.
It is at that, as Herzog and MacDonald going door to door. Herzog just completely throws the block on MacDonald going into turn one, Russell's a spot away from him. And now Woodside's in trouble because they've got numbers on the top lane.
That's Austin Herzog in the 11, the last car on the high line. Oh boy, that was really close with MacDonald, but MacDonald's going to make it work. He's going to get 2 spots. A 1 for sure, working on the second one.
Did get the second one by the time they got to the stripe, so MacDonald working on timing his runs right now as here comes the 8 and the 98, and I don't think the 98's on the lead lap yet.
No, the 98 of Blaine Roca is not on the lead lap. He is 2 laps down. Same as Wayne Stokes, who is back out on track, battling with the 6 of Jake Drew. As now battle for the lead, looking heavy. Walt Clow, Toni Breidinger. Clow looking for his second win of the year, Breidinger her first.
She has been the bridesmaid 3 times already this season, looking to get that breakthrough win here tonight, and she is giving Walt Clow all he can handle right now.
Actually, I take that back. Clow has a pole, not a win. My apologies.
Right. So either one of them both looking for their breakthrough win. Griffith back there as well, and the 3 of them have really carved out a lead right now.
It's been one heck of a run.
You can see the gap from Griffith back to Gio Scelzi. And, I mean, let's call it like we see it. Gio Scelzi is really the backbone of the McAnally team right now, as he is the only one on the lead lap.
Scelzi, the lowest of the drivers for McAnally in the point standings, but the highest right now, carrying the flag, as Tony said, for that McAnally team. Running in 5th at the moment. His other 2 teammates running 22nd and 26th.
Ty Majeski getting caught up in that first melee, or second melee. Unfortunately, is multiple laps down. Still plugging away at it, but that battle for the lead still hot and heavy. As what type of pressure is Corey Heim going to give to make it difficult for Walt Clow to get by him, knowing that his teammate is right there?
Breidinger once again just right on the back of Walt Clow, just the same way she was against Blaine Roca earlier on. And we see Corey Heim do this. We saw him do it last week. Helped Breidinger pick up about a second in a lap. Making
she's getting a run through 1 and 2.
Unfortunately, her teammate now not helping her as much as he was last week. At Concord, they get clear, and Breidinger about a half a second behind, as Heim still won't let her go.
If you're the team boss for that group, you're probably on the radio right now screaming at Heim, and there finally lets her go.
This is the next group behind that pair. There's Derek Griffith running solo.
That is 4th through 8th.
Yep. Howard, Scelzi, Doss, Quapple on your screen right now.
And 4th through 7th anyways.
Then it's another 3.5 seconds, actually almost 4 seconds, back to Mark Wirtz, who's starting to get away from Austin Herzog. Dominic Lopez also back on the lead lap. 20
So
laps to go.
Good news if you're
Charlotte.
a Lopez fan.
Lopez again having a very good run thus far. Had been stone dead last in points going into the second half.
No.
Boy, caution is out. Eddie MacDonald in the 17 has had an issue. He's towed already. Oh, it was coming out of 4.
And we got to go back to the previous lap.
Somebody had gotten to him coming out of 4. Here's MacDonald. This is the beginning of the lap. Battling hard side by side. Boy, Maynard really pushing his way through the middle.
Making it 3 wide down the back chute. That's never a good idea.
3 abreast, Maynard. Again, just we've seen it so many times. A carbon copy of what happened with Corey Heim earlier on.
And it's that cross breeze that they're catching in the middle of 3 and 4. You know, 10-mile-an-hour crosswind is nothing to ignore. And the only thing is it's gusting to 10. So one lap you might be at like 5 mile an hour. The next lap it's doubled its speed, and it's real easy to push up. And in 3 wide situations do not work here. We have seen that's every incident we have seen tonight that's brought out a caution is because of a 3 wide situation.
This right now will mean the last pit stop that these teams will have to make here tonight. As Walt Clow breaks free down pit lane. All 15 drivers on the lead lap down pit road here.
And MacDonald has put it on the hauler.
Well, at least for the moment he has. We've seen... Oh, somebody sideways. Who in the heck is that? Is that Jeremy Doss? It is.
What the heck happened there? Looks like he may have
just
gotten run over trying to get to his spot, into his box.
Not sure if that car just glitched out or what happened there, but Toni Breidinger right now is going to win the race off of pit road. Yes, she does. Walt Clow is going to come out about 5th.
Wow. You know, we've talked all season that Breidinger is due. And what a feather in her cap if she can get the win here tonight at the Queen City Charlotte Motor Speedway. And you can see everybody in front of her. Those are lap down cars looking to get one of their laps back.
Yeah, but well, they'll all be pitting here because they're going to have to pit under green anyway if they do come in. If they don't come in now, they're going to have to pit. 12.88 second pit stop for Toni Breidinger. Derek Griffith.
So she took 2.
Derek Griffith, 13.15. Selzy, 14.75. Howard, 16.43. Walt Clow, 22.92, which would mean 4 tires for the 5th place driver.
And everybody in front of him only took 2 in fuel, as there go the lap down cars.
Either 2 and fuel or 2 or fuel.
It would be 2 and. Because we saw that you can only get about 30 laps. So everybody coming down to make sure that they can top those tanks off and make sure they can get to the finish. Now, it's either a good news or a bad news situation. You decide which it is, ladies and gentlemen. There are no green-white checkers here.
There are not, as we will see. Let's try to go back and try to find out what happened with Jeremy Doss. Unless something just glitched out that we haven't seen yet.
Now, keep your eye on Quapple behind him, because I'm thinking that may have been the cause of that incident.
It's the car
if we can get a different camera angle.
It's the car with the blue top there. Are we slow already? Stops, stop.
Yep,
oh,
there it is, 55.
50, yep, the 55 of Wirtz. Spins him out. So there's
and
that.
He is listed as out right now.
He's probably towing at the moment. Yeah, because Eddie MacDonald is back in pit road
Okay.
repairing his car, so he's probably still towing. Is Doss. For all the incidents that we've had tonight, nobody officially out of the race. As we will now double up.
Restart with 14 to go.
So now Breidinger will have the advantage, and for the first time tonight, she will be in the race lead on a restart. And about a medium length run to go here in this race.
And keep your eye on the 45 of Walt Clow, or 46 of Walt Clow, because he's the first car to have taken 4. Everybody in front of him, Griffith, Selzy, and the 81 all took 2, including Breidinger. So we're about to see what's going to happen here. Now, if they were a little too free towards the tail end of that run, or a little too tight in the tail end of that run, those 2 tires are going to be advantageous. If the wind really picks up, that's going to loosen those cars up even more, and it's going to be a handful if you're not prepared. But Griffith definitely behind the 8 ball right now, as Breidinger are going to have the button.
Bristol Motor Speedway coming up next week here for this AI Series, Jewel number 3 in the crown. For this season, we're still looking to hand out Jewel number 2. Coming to the line to restart this race. 14 laps to go. Breidinger gets the jump this time. She is going to be clear going into turn 1. Gio Selzy looking for second place right now on the 12 of Griffith.
Griffith was looking to pinch down. Selzy going to get the clear. Here comes Clow to the inside. Clow with a good run on those 4 fresh shoes. Side by side, Selzy finally able to get clear of Griffith. Griffith's going to try to cross him over going into 3.
Griffith looking to that inside now. Selzy leaving plenty of room on the inside. Walt Clow almost going door to door with Colby Howard.
Howard goes down and throws the block on Clow. Here comes the 55, who's been a bull in a china shop all night long. Oy, that is an angry pack of hornets just outside the top 5.
That is Wirtz and Herzog battling side by side there now. Carson Quapple works his way up. Derek Griffith, a big wiggle in the middle of turns 3 and 4. That's going to allow Selzy to get back up and blocks off Colby Howard looking to the inside going through the quad oval.
Howard still looking to the inside as Griffith drops down in front of him. Selzy and Clow on the top shelf. Now Griffith's going to give the draft to Selzy and company. That's going to hang Howard out to dry on the low lane.
It's Selzy going to the inside here in 3 and 4. Side by side. Selzy pushing Derek Griffith up the circuit.
Griffith has to lift a little bit, and all that battling going on for second is letting Toni Breidinger step out a lead, as she's got about 10 car lengths to the good right now, as Selzy and Griffith still door to door.
Oh boy, 0.8 of a second, and now enter stage right, Austin Herzog. Making it a 5-car battle up here at the front for second.
Still nobody giving an inch, no quarter asked for, no quarter given. As Selzy leaning on Clow right now, as Clow trying to push Griffith past Selzy. They are still door to door. Good grief.
And Colby Howard trying really hard. He wants to make it 3 wide so badly, but he does not want to give up this finish, as Griffith still holding on at the front of this group. Side by side, almost contact between Selzy and Walt Clow through 3 and 4. Selzy keeps the car straight. Clow keeps the spot.
Selzy lost the front end in the middle of 3 and 4 with a lot of turbulent air in front of him. Very easy to do with these cars. As now Griffith and Clow have gotten by and gotten clear of those guys. They're now trying to reel in Toni Breidinger, but they're running out of time. It's going to be 8 to go this time across the stripe, as Selzy and Howard still door to door.
Selzy and Howard door to door. Quapple and Herzog door to door. Quapple looking for his best finish of the season. In this number 35, Sean Woodside dives to the inside. Trying to get under the 11 of Herzog. Now side by side battling for second between Derek Griffith and Walt Clow. Boy, Clow really
Griffith on the low side. Clow on the top shelf, trying to make it happen. 7 to go, and Toni Breidinger is loving that side-by-side that she's seeing in her rearview mirror. She's just got to hold on for 6.5 now more laps as they come down the back chute. There's Breidinger. There's the lead that she has over Griffith. Clow's going to slot back in behind Griffith to try to reel in Breidinger, but right now Breidinger's got clean track in front of her, and she is thinking that this is her best shot right now so far to get her first win on the season.
Breidinger 2 seconds ahead of the pair you're seeing on screen right now. Griffith and Clow. Colby Howard battling still with Gio Scelzi for that 4th position.
Scelzi has that car set up for the top shelf tonight as he's getting great runs coming off the corners and those bumps in the transition coming off the turn going into the straights. It's not affecting him like we've seen a lot of other drivers tonight.
No, it is not. Dominic Lopez getting a little bit loose coming out of turn 4, now down to 10th. Goes to 24. The 51 of Sammy Smith, who's had his issues tonight, back in 18th. Multiple laps down. Howard has finally gotten clear of Scelzi. 4 laps to go. Coming to the line here as Woodside and Herzog go side by side. I believe that was the 75 of Jeremy Dawson, the fence in turn 4.
Yes, it was.
Slow
Hopefully we can stay green. He's still at speed, so that's a good sign.
And you've just scrubbed it.
Ooh.
So that's Josh Berry looking for 12th on John Moore in the 27.
As Woodside and company still going door to door up there. 3 laps to go. Breidinger in the 25 in command of this one. Can your points leader hang on for 3 more laps? That's all she's got to do.
So be
as now the battle for 3rd hot and heavy.
Still going between Howard and Clow, as Clow, again, first driver with 4 fresh tires, not working out all that well for him at the moment.
He may have used them up already trying to work with Griffith, as those guys were just going after each other. Clow may have burned those tires off already. 2 laps to go. 3 miles is the distance. Toni Breidinger with a 12-car length lead right now over 2nd place, Derek Griffith.
Walt Clow battling side by side right now with Gio Scelzi. Scelzi looking for 4th as Colby Howard has gotten away. Still more side by side battling back in 10th. That's Mark Wirtz and Andy Allen.
White flag in the air. We are racing back to checkers. Toni Breidinger hauls it off into turn number 1. She's just got to hang on for 3 more corners. Coming out of 2. Down the back chute for the final time. That's Derek Griffith, Derek
Kraus in front of her.
As she comes through 3 and 4 for the final time. 3 times the bridesmaid. Finally, with the breakthrough win, Toni Breidinger wins at Charlotte. What a race.
She came within 14 100ths of a second last week. And this time she's clear by almost 3 seconds. Getting her first win of the year and definitely extending that points lead. Earning max points here at Charlotte.
Absolutely. As Griffith hanging on for 2nd, Howard coming home in 3rd, Scelzi and Clow rounding out your top 5. Quapple, Woodside, Herzog, Lopez, excuse me, and Andy Allen rounding out your top 10. But Frank, from the word go, we have seen nothing but side-by-side action all night long, and that early pit strategy really paid off for Toni Breidinger tonight.
Absolutely did. She worked a phenomenal race to get herself up. Started 21st and comes away with the race win here. The second jewel in the crown goes to Toni Breidinger, and an incredible night at by far and away the biggest track that we are going to go to all season long. We'll head now to the results here for tonight's race. Toni Breidinger takes her first win of the season. Derek Griffith and Colby Howard round out the podium positions. Gio Scelzi does beat out Walt Clow
That's
for
his
the
best
fourth
finish
position.
of the season.
Yep, Scelzi's best as well. Carson Quapple, Sean Woodside, Austin Herzog, Dominic Lopez, Andy Allen rounding out the top 10. Mark Wirtz, Josh Berry, Austin Maynard, John Moore, and Jeremy Doss rounding out the top 15.
John Moore being scored as the last car on the lead lap. Brain Roca coming home in 16th. Wayne Stokes, Sammy Smith, Corey Heim, and Eddie MacDonald rounding out your top 20. Problems for both those Sunrise Fords tonight and both of the other McAnally cars, as Jake Drew coming home in 21st, Cole Moore in 22nd, Tanner Reef in 23rd, Parker Traves in 24th, Trevor Huddleston in 25th, Derek Kraus finishing back in 26th, and Ty Majeski coming up in 27th. Not the race he was hoping for after starting on the pole.
You know, from a pole start to a last place finish for Ty Majeski, certainly not what he was hoping for. So tonight marks the end of an incredible race here at Charlotte. Next week we head to Bristol Motor Speedway, another what's going to be another marathon of a race, 200 laps from Bristol coming up next week. Then after that, it's going to be the Nashville Fairgrounds, Southern National Motorsports Park, Hickory Motor Speedway, and then Five Flag Speedway to close out this season for our first AI season here on ESBN. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. We will see you all next week from Bristol Motor Speedway. Good night, everybody.